Hello everybody, Captain Marty here. Feeling a little more chipper this week than I did last week. My voice is mostly coming back to me, but bear with me, got a lot to talk about in the fishing front, and I'll be back to do that in just a moment. Hey y'all, Captain Marty here to tell you that when my friends are in the market for a new boat engine or repair, I send them to the best, and that's at Ratcliffe Marine in Belhaven. Ratcliffe Marine is your official Suzuki outboard dealer. Suzuki motors are designed to get you on the water fast and get you back to the dock whenever you're ready. Ratcliffe Marine is also the largest repower center in North Carolina. So when you're in the market for a new motor or you need your Suzuki serviced, go to Ratcliffe Marine, 865 Highway 264 in Belhaven.
Hi, I'm LB Daniels, and when you want great local seafood, you go to Fresh Catch Seafood in Wanchese. How do I know it's great? My daddy is one of the fishermen that brings it to the docks. At Fresh Catch Seafood, you will get local seafood right from their fish house. They are a family-owned business that knows the name of every fisherman that comes to their docks. Visit their social media pages to see the latest catches. My daddy would love to put his tuna on your dinner plate, so get it now from Fresh Catch Seafood in Wanchese.
All right, so here's what's going on. Hopefully you've been on my site before on this little podcast, this fishing report we do. You know we start out in Hatteras, but if you're here for this week and today's your first day, there is lots of opportunity and lots of ways to go fishing, whether you planned on doing it or not. Spur of the moment fishing is something that the locals in Hatteras can help you accommodate. That's a key thought. So don't say I wasn't prepared or I didn't bring any tackle. None of that makes any difference. We will get you out fishing, whether it's on the pier, the Gulf Stream, or even back in the Sound. The Hatteras offshore fleet had a rough day yesterday. The weatherman stretched the truth a little bit, according to my sponsor Jesse on the Carolina Girl at Hatteras Harbor. Most of the boats had limits of dolphin or mahi, or close to limits, like 50, 55, 60 fish. And they had very good blackfin tuna fishing. Some more than others, some larger blackfins, some small blackfins. There were a few wahoo, a few sailfish, all the usual suspects, and I had no report near shore yesterday. So don't have that. The Oregon Inlet Fleet had a very nice mix of meat fish that included either or yellowfin tuna or blackfin tuna. That depended on which direction you went. When I say that, they don't all just go to the same spot. In fact, at Oregon Inlet, or anywhere for that matter, they could run down all the way down to Diamond Shoals and fish off of there, or they could turn and run all the way up to the Virginia state line. That's a range of 150 miles. And if you're on one end and it's blackfin tuna, or east of the inlet it's yellowfin tuna, a lot of it is you gotta roll with whatever card you're dealt, and that's how it works. But both yellowfin tuna, blackfin tuna, some good dolphin fishing for the mahi up there as well. A few gaffers, and we're not seeing a lot of the big dolphin this year, but and my old buddy Greg Blunt, he had a good day. He got caught and released 2 blue marlin out of Pirates Cove Marina on the Desperado, so good for him. And several boats, offshore boats, along with our nearshore fleet, they've been mommicking the big red drum. These schools of roving drum, it's becoming the thing. I mean, these are some of the same people that were doing all the cobia fishing, but they're doing some sight casting the drum. That's all catch and release. That's that fishery is, but pretty interesting. Pier and surf fishing is fairly generic. All the piers reporting. It's really tough to tell how good it is, because a typical report, and it frustrates me to no end sometimes, is we had spot, sea mullet, Spanish, and blues. And that doesn't tell us a whole lot, but we do know the variety is there. But what would really be more helpful that I could pass on to y'all is when there's a quantity or what the quantities are. Because there are times when it gets really, really good. And most of the time, they'll say a great run. Let me give you an example. Up on the northern beaches, it was very good spot and sea mullet fishing. So that's one example. In the surf around Buxton and Avon, I heard different people reporting loads of croakers, a few bluefish, and some sea mullet. So that's better. That's helpful information that we can use. The South Beaches down, I would call the South Beaches in this case, from Diamond Shoals or Cape Point or Buxton, all the way on down to Ocracoke, more pompanos bluefish and Spanish mackerel, and a lot of sharks, different sizes, a lot of small sharks in the catches as well. But what you can probably tell, it's typical summertime fare, a term I used a lot in my 25 years in radio. Spot, sea mullet, Spanish, blues, and that's your base catches. And then if you're lucky, you'll catch a speckled trout or a puppy drum, which would make a nice meal for your family. And you might catch a black drum, or you might catch a shark that will excite the kids. So that's what's going on in the surf and pier stuff. Not a whole lot to report. And the water temperature is still cool as we deal with this southwest wind. Still cool on the northern beaches. So that's what that's all about. Now we'll take a little break. The backcountry report is a little bit scaled down. Not as good as it has been, but I'll bring you up to date when we come back after the break.
Wave Runner Fishing Charters provides exceptional Outer Banks fishing trips for anglers of all experience levels. Captain Brian White's love for fishing began at age 6 and soon evolved into a lifelong passion. Located at Wanchese Marina, the Wave Runner specializes in offshore and nearshore fishing adventures, offering guests the excitement of pursuing a wide range of pelagic species. They have the best rates in town. Call today at 252-216-8350 or online at fishwaverunnerobx.com.
All right, so in the backcountry, still a good trout bite going on. The drum bite is either they're being very covert or the big drum bite is not as good as it was a week ago. I am hearing about quite a few puppy drum, and depending on where you're at, I don't hear the Pamlico Sound, which this time of year is mostly what we talk about in the backcountry. As I say often, it's 120 miles long, 30 miles across, and I don't get a report from all those areas. But I do try to pass on what I hear. And I think it's been a little bit scrappier, but if you put in your time, you still come up with a decent catch of speckled trout. That season now open. A puppy drum, maybe in the slot, so you take one of them home for dinner. And if you're hardcore, you'll go out there for that evening bite and try to catch some of these big drum that roam up and down the shoals. I haven't heard anything else about the tarpon fishing that was going on further down on the lower end of the Pamlico Sound. But yes, it was good there for a week, and it just got really quiet. I haven't heard anything else about it. So I would give the backcountry report, I would say it's a little scrappy with this heat, but there also is an increase on things like on the Bonner Bridge Pier at Oregon Inlet. There's been some sheephead fishing going on there, also some black drum. And the backside of Hatteras Island, for the waders, putting on an old pair of tennis shoes, no waders required, but if you're going to go wading, you definitely want to have a pair of old shoes on. Do not attempt that barefoot. So they've been going out there and casting lures, grubs, or popping cork, and they're picking away at a puppy drum or a speckled trout, and that is relaxing and really good fishing. You can ask your local tackle shops down on Hatteras Island how to do that, and you can ask your local tackle shops north of Oregon Inlet how you can do that up on the north end of the beach as well. And there's plenty of places to go fishing where you do not need a boat. And if you don't believe it, go over and check Tony Lombardi. Tony helps me with all this backcountry information, and he has a website. It's www.walkingangler.com. And it tells you all you need to know about fishing without a boat. So that's a good thing. And finally, we'll close with this. This week is the Dare County Boatbuilders Foundation Billfish Tournament at Pirates Cove Marina. Registration is Wednesday evening. Fishing days are Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And I will tell you, it's a great time if you want to avoid the huge crowds that are associated with the big Pirates Cove tournament or the Alice Kelly Ladies Tournament. This tournament will be about a 35-40 boat tournament. You'll get to see some of the most beautiful sport fishing boats in the world. You generally can find parking more easily, and you can contribute. The donations that this tournament makes to our local students, high school students, and then college students as well in Dare County is phenomenal. It's a great event. So come out, come on the dock, come say hello. I'll be in the pavilion all during the day because I will be doing the scoring and I'll be doing the what they call the committee boat work. Nowadays, I don't need a boat to do that, but the captains will all report their releases to me, and this is a release-only tournament, and I'll be doing it on it. And you can listen to that by going to dcbbf.org. That's Dare County Boatbuilders Foundation.org. You can also just Google it, and when you get there, you'll see where you go to listen live, and you'll hear me all week long. If you can't do that, come over to the dock, walk around. It's open to the public. You can contribute to this great cause by maybe bidding in the silent auction or purchasing shirts. There's lots of things you can do. You can walk the pavilion, see the exhibits. There's artwork. There's all kinds of things. And I will be the weighmaster from 4 o'clock on. The only thing we'll be weighing will be tuna, dolphin, and wahoo. But if you want to come see us, just a much more chill environment, and I hope to see you there. Meanwhile, go out and wet a line. You're not going to catch them in the motel room. And I hope you have a great week, and the good Lord blesses you.